What is up, everybody? Welcome to another fresh take. T, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing, Foos?
All right, now tonight we're going to be talking Justice League, and we're doing a full-on review. Spoilers will be included. So, once again, if you have not seen the movie yet, please, and you want to avoid spoilers, we will be doing this spoiler field. So come back after you watch it and let us know what you think. But for the time being, this will be spoiler filled. If you want to read a review without spoilers, check out the blog at blog.geekalley.net. That has no spoilers in it. So we'll go from there. Um, so Justice League came out about a week and a half ago. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried going into it because look, people, y'all know me and T, we did our review of Batman vs Superman, and while we wasn't hating on it, we did recognize the issues with it. And once again, like I said, I was a little bit worried because one, there are characters in here that I know of because I read comics, but that the movie going public probably don't know of yet because they haven't been in anything. You've only seen like pictures of them,
right,
or grainy video of them. So that's one of the things I was a little bit worried about. But I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised with Justice League. I was, and they did something that I'm so glad they did, and that has to do with my boy Superman. Because if you think now, this ain't a spoiler. If you think he wasn't gonna be in the movie,
get out of your damn mind. Like,
yeah,
you're not gonna have a Justice League movie without Superman.
Yeah, I'm like, you knew he was gonna come back at some point. I mean,
they hinted at it at the end of BVS. You know,
yeah,
so
I'm like, it was the worst kept secret ever.
I will say, he came back earlier than I thought.
I would say that too,
which I actually liked. But I was surprised that he came back so early in the movie itself. Not that it was early, but it was much earlier than I thought he would show up.
I was surprised too, and I have to say that I liked the way it started out. It started out with the actual cell phone vid from two kids talking to him after he saves some people, and the thing that I liked about it was they showed him smile. And I know that's something small, but I don't think people understand. Superman is not a brooding hero. He's not somebody who sits around and be like, should I really be a hero? Should I contemplate about being a hero? No,
he's not. He's true blue American, born and raised in Kansas, true blue American, happy superhero.
Yeah.
But I will say, and I applaud the effort to give him some more grit, because that, maybe they were just worried that wasn't going to work. That kind of 1978 Superman thing wasn't going to work with today's audiences, and I understand that. Like, people got tired of what was it, 007, and got tired of that old style of James Bond after the Diamonds. Die Another Day, right?
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh gosh, okay, we can't. we gotta go with some gritty Daniel Craig bulky dude for the next one." And
now people
that worked out really well.
Back to it.
A lot of people liked it, yeah. But now I want them to go back because I'm done with that stuff.
Yeah,
as far as my James Bond goes. But so they were just worried, and you have Batman after those terrible Batman films that the last two before Begins. And Begins got grittier again. It got darker, got a little creepier. But again, that works for Batman because that's how Batman is. That's who he is, right? Schumacher took him to like the TV show from the 60s Batman, which was okay in forever, but by the time Batman Robin came around, it was atrocious. Yeah. So like I applauded the effort. I get why they did it. They just didn't execute it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it was a bad idea. I just don't think it was executed well enough. As far as making him it was a little too convoluted, I think. But I think their heart was in the right place. They just couldn't, they had the wrong writer, first of all.
oh yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, that's my spiel.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I would say about this movie, and I like that it had a lot more. It felt like it had a lot more personality to it,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to like the more grittier, more brooding movies. It kind of felt, honestly, it kind of felt like they took some of the stuff that made Wonder Woman work, and they kind of infused it a little bit,
right?
And it worked because one thing I will say about superhero comics, because I read them a lot, there's not that much difference between Avengers and Justice League when you read their books. Yeah. It really ain't that much of a difference. You know, you have your serious characters, you have your lighthearted characters, you have your badass characters, and the thing that makes them sell
DC tends to go a little bit darker,
yeah,
at times, and that's not overall, but for like we were talking about Batman vs Superman, that's obviously influenced by The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah,
and it's just like that is a dark, scary comic book, and so some of the criticisms about Batman vs Superman being too dark, and well, the source material is pretty dark, you know. Yeah. So, but the problem is you throw Superman in that. The thing about The Dark Knight Returns is that it wasn't focused on Superman. It was more focused on Batman. It was about Batman, and Superman was kind of like that overshadowing, you know. Basically, he was a guy that was for the system where Batman wasn't, you know. So, and they couldn't do that in the movie because they didn't set that up, you know, that way.
At all.
So they couldn't really do that, but they still tried to give you The Dark Knight Returns, and it just didn't work with the Superman you had, you know. It just didn't go together as well. So, you know, some of the criticisms of, it's too dark isn't fair because, like I said, Dark Knight Returns is dark. It is a dark comic, but when you throw the Superman that we have into it, and he's in it as much as he is. If he was like a small part of it and more like the comic, where he was just like, you know, where Batman was focusing all his animosity on, his anger for the system, then that would be different. But, you know, we're supposed to have them on even playing fields, and that's why it didn't work as well tonally overall. So,
yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I can agree with that because that's one of those situations where, like, if you know what they were going for, there was no way to make that work because
there was really no way to make Dark Knight Returns work with Man of Steel. Like it just wasn't going to work that way.
Yeah, because in one they weren't friends yet.
Yeah,
like the
reason they weren't friends. That was another thing. They were friends. The reason
why Dark Knight Returns actually worked, they were actually friends.
They were friends for a while, and
for a while they just had different.
They had this falling out. It was not unlike Civil War, you know, where you had all these friends that were cool with each other, but they disagreed on this one thing. Oh, we're for the system, well, we're against it, you know, kind of thing. So,
and that's how that went. And that's one of the things but in this one, it actually they actually takes a look at like Batman actually calming his nerve and realizing that I can't do this by myself, and this is pretty much my fault because the whole thing of the movie revolves around the mother box as well. I like what they did story wise with it, as opposed to where they were just waiting for the Kryptonian to die.
Right, that was good. I like that too. Yeah,
and the fact that as soon as he died, they're like, "Yep, we can come back."
Yeah, if it was, of natural causes, or obviously if something happened to him.
Yeah, so he's gone. There's nobody here. Yeah, they don't have no protectors because the lanterns ain't there no more.
Right,
and we're good to go.
Okay. Again, we're not going to talk about what they cut or any of that stuff, but they didn't really set that up in the movie. I remember that being a thing in the trailers where Steppenwolf was talking about there's no lanterns, no Kryptonian. Like we didn't get that, so that to me was a thing that was kind of missing.
Yeah, well, it was kind of missing, but if you go back and remember when they were doing the background of what happened when he first came, when they do the whole Amazon thing, where the Amazon,
I mean, it's in there. That kind of stuff is in there.
The tribes of men, and
it just wasn't hit as home as that. Even just the wording he used in the trailer, like it didn't hit his home. It didn't hit his home as that. Like I made the mistake of like listening to reviews before going to see the movie. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, never do. Never do.
So I did that because I was just excited and wanted to see what people thought. But so people were saying, oh, the first 25, 30 minutes is it's a little mixed up, or you get confused or whatever. I'm like, well, I guess maybe if you're a comic book fan, you might get a little lost. But I didn't have that problem. So I went into it. So I went into it with this kind of, here, I got to get through this first 30 minutes because apparently a lot of people are saying it's a little convoluted and a little disjointed as far as the pacing and all. And I didn't have that problem at all. But I think it kind of maybe hindered my viewing because I was waiting for that to happen, and it never really happened to me,
Yeah,
so I don't know if that happened to you or not, but
it didn't happen to me. I thought that they did a good job with the pacing because the movie never feels like it's dragging at any point.
Yeah,
it never feels like that. And I will say this to those people, because there's going to be some people complaining about certain things, certain aspects of this movie. And I'm sorry, but I'm glad it was under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because I don't need a 3-hour movie. And here's why. We already know that DC did not do any setups for this movie, which means we didn't have a Flash movie. We don't have a Cyborg movie. We don't have an Aquaman movie. We do not have time to sit up and go through everybody's origin in this movie.
And then no.
We don't have time for that.
Especially when you know they have their own movies coming anyway.
Yeah,
so it's
because
just
Aquaman movies come. Aquaman is next June.
Yeah.
I think Cyborg's movie is supposed to be in 2019 or 2020.
It's supposed to be next year, but they pushed it, right?
Yeah, they pushed it back. And Flash's movie is supposed to be coming after that. So I mean, look, that's the problem that we have. The reason why you didn't get mad at Avengers because Marvel did Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Cap.
Mm-hmm.
Then they put them together.
You knew who everybody was. About. So you know it was the damn villains, and they were just kind of whatever. And anyway, so
so with DC, they couldn't do that. So I'm happy that they didn't do that. That they didn't make us sit through, 3 origin stories that probably would take us out of the movie.
They're a little too late for that. Like people give them flack for they're speeding through. They really don't have a choice because of what Marvel already set up. So if they were to start at ground zero with that, they could have done it better as far as how they paced out these other movies that set up the Justice League. Yeah. You could say that. Like maybe Suicide Squad could have had some more setup for Justice League because its story is kind of on its own, and it could have been really cool if you tied it in somehow to Justice League. But I'm not upset that that they're kind of fast tracking it, but maybe like I said, some of the pacing in some of the movies and some of the setup isn't quite as good as it needed to be. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like it we can't slog through 3 or 4 more origin stories from superhero movies because we have that with Marvel and we have that even with Fox, so it's just like it's too much. And Warner Brothers wasn't wrong to do that. It's just their execution again wasn't as solid as it needed to be, being that they had to fast track it. So.
Yeah, and once again, I think I think what people are gonna love about this movie is, let's be honest, Zack Snyder can direct some action.
Oh boy!
So the action sequences are on point in my opinion, especially the Wonder Woman opening sequence in the museum. That's on point. When Superman first wakes up,
the Dark Superman fight sequence.
Yeah, when Superman first wakes up, they make you understand that all y'all Batman lovers that believe Batman can beat anybody with prep time.
Seriously, like
no, he is human.
If it wasn't for Lois,
he would have been a dead man.
Dead. Everybody.
Yeah, because and I like how they did it because of the simple fact that like when they do it, when he wakes up, when they revive him, Aquaman says like when you die and you come back, you lose something, and they wasn't listening.
Right.
Well, Bruce wasn't listening.
Yeah, and he was listening, but he's just like we ain't got no choice. Like we can't handle Steppenwolf on our own. Like, we can't do it. We need a Kryptonian. We need Superman. So,
and unfortunately, it was my fault. I feel guilty because I went after this dude.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have. I caused the situation. So
he caused him to be killed, and this caused this whole thing to happen. But we had to have that stuff happen for things to happen. So,
and when he and there's a line in there that Henry Cavill says, he's like, "You won't let me live, and you won't let me die." And I'm like, when I started to think about it, I'm like, you know what? You got a point. You're like, dude,
you got a good point there, bro.
Because he was alive.
Yeah.
Then now you're mad at him because you need him back alive.
He deserves to get his behind whooped after putting that man through that kind of stuff,
Yeah, basically. And once again, if it wasn't for Lois, they was all dead.
Yeah.
Because it was obvious Wonder Woman was holding back, but the other ones wasn't.
No. Nope.
So yeah. Now I will say this: we all know that Joss Whedon did come in and do some helped out with some reshoots and helped out with some directing after the Zack Snyder had a tragedy in his family, and you could tell the parts that Joss Whedon touched because you could tell like the one-liners that were
the banter. He's good at that.
Now, before anybody says anything, he didn't do it like he did it in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
It doesn't go to the Marvel level, and
he didn't do that. Like it's not every 5 seconds there's a one-liner. No, they're at sparse times, but they're appropriate.
And the people that need to be that, like Flash, obviously he was the comic relief person in the whole group, and it made sense. You didn't have. Batman would say funny things, but it was like dark because Batman's dark kind of fun. You know what I'm saying? Like it was funny because Batman's like a brooding, dark character. That's like I was saying about Thor. Like I didn't want Thor dropping just stupid one-liner after stupid one-liner. I think he could be way funnier being Thor, fish out of water.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that helped is the fact that you have Batman, who's always a loner, actually around a team,
right?
And he's having it. He really doesn't have a choice in this situation because once again, they make it well known. Look, Batman is human. He ain't got no powers.
Nope.
While he's fighting one parademon, they're on their 15th.
Right. He's struggling.
He is struggling. He's winning, but it's taking him 20 minutes to take down one.
Right.
Where they done took down 10. They done took down 30 in 5 minutes.
Yeah. But I will say this is the most Batman-iest of Batmans like we've gotten as far as comic book, like the way he moves and stuff. Like we haven't really gotten that in the movies. Maybe a little bit in the Nolan movies. You got some of that, but you felt like that Batman would not have been able to handle this situation. And obviously this Batman is more equipped to handle this more kind of fantasy stuff.
I like the way they set that up for him to be like that.
Yeah.
They set it up for him to be like that because he's the guy who has the most experience doing this.
Right.
Like none of the other guys have that much experience except for probably Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman shut herself up for 100 years.
Exactly.
So,
and Flash, he
Flash is just like the youngest.
Hilariously says about his lack of experience, I just kind of run really fast and push people.
Yeah. I like the way, and at first I wasn't feeling Ezra Miller, but I like the way they played it because of the simple fact that like when he does it, you can see the actual fear.
Yeah,
because he's not.
He's afraid. I mean, and you relate to him. You needed somebody to relate to. You know, not always, but in this situation where you got a band of superheroes, who's gonna be your relatable person? And I thought Ezra Klein was like the best.
Yeah, because like
most relatable, character.
Yeah, because for me, I mean, I can't relate to Cyborg because they're doing and they did Cyborg right. Don't get me wrong, but you can't really relate to him because he's fighting the machine,
right?
And so you need that guy who's actually in Aquaman. Let's be honest, that's Khal Drogo. He's not afraid of nothing.
No, he's fearless. Dude's fearless.
Yeah,
but you're not worried about him. You're not worried for him.
Yeah, you needed that one guy who actually, yes, he has powers, yes, he has ability, but he don't know how to fight. He knows that this is stuff that he's afraid of, like he has nightmares about, because he said he has a fear of insects.
Yeah.
And the parademons look like giant insects.
All right.
So, I mean, hey, it worked. And I do like the design of the parademons and how they said they came to be. I like that. That was actually pretty cool.
That was really cool.
So
I will say that was one of the things I liked the most about this movie is how they incorporated stuff, made it make sense in the film world, because you can't really do a lot of that comic book stuff in 2 hours, where it would make sense. It would be too disjointed and confusing to a lot of people. And I like how they brought Superman back. That was, to me, a stroke of genius. I didn't even think about that at all.
I didn't either.
I had no clue that that's what was going to happen. So that was very cool that they incorporated something basically they've been using since Man of Steel through Batman vs Superman. So I just thought that was really cool to use that. So.
And since we both read that Superman Returns comic where they brought him, I'm so glad they didn't do what they did.
They didn't do that. Yeah, that would have been way too cheesy.
Yeah, I'm so glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, see, that's the stuff I'm talking about. That stuff just wouldn't work on the big screen.
This, what they did in here works.
Yes, it totally works.
It works. It's believable for the universe that they set up. Now, another thing I want to tap on, because a lot of people say they hated the CG, and we've talked about this before. It's a superhero movie. None of this stuff exists in the real world. You know it's going to have CG in it.
I will say there were some shots that were like, ooh.
Yeah, there was a couple of them that were.
The Dark Superman scene was a little stagey looking,
Yeah, when he was like up in the air.
Green screen state, you could tell.
But I will say this, for the most part, the CG worked.
Yeah.
Like, for the most part,
it totally worked. Yeah.
Outside of a couple of shots, for the most part, it did.
Outside of a couple of shots, nothing was jarring, like, oh my God, it looks terrible. None of that. It was just like, oh, I can tell that is a CG background, that kind of thing.
And I'm
but so what? I mean, what?
I'm sick of hearing like critics and stuff like, "Oh, this is so drenched in CG." Dude, what you expect?
In Civil War, the fight at the airport, that was so CG.
That was so CG
and noticeable. And didn't really bother me that much. But I just feel like they seem to harp a little bit more on the DC movie, man.
But see, that's the thing, because I'm like, dude, Ant-Man turns into Giant Man. You don't think that was CG? Come on, man.
Shot looked really bad. I don't want to say it looked really bad. It just kind of looked a little off-putting. But it was fine. It was like, well, he's Ant-Man. These are things that he's gonna do. It's not gonna look real.
No, it's not supposed to.
It's so stupid. It's stupid.
And I will say this: the last third, the climactic action sequence, yes, it is a CG fest, but it's supposed to be.
It has to be. It has to be.
They're trying to terraform the Earth into Apocalypse.
What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? So
you can't shoot that practically.
Yeah, I mean, what you gonna do? Take it to Mount St. Helens and hope it erupts?
I mean, did you think the end of Civil War looked practical?
I mean, it didn't.
The end of Age of Ultron?
And we know that wasn't practical.
Yeah, like, come on.
So let's cut the BS on this, like, complaining about the CG, because unless the CG just looks horrible,
I really don't get it, because as a kid that grew up when CG started to hit,
that was CG bad back in the 90s, what we had.
Yeah, but you were like, you were still in awe. Like, this is awesome that you could do this stuff. Like, you couldn't do that before.
And they've gotten better.
You use miniatures and it totally looked like a damn miniature.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's a big somebody threw a bucket of water on this on the miniature tree set. And it's supposed to be a flood, and it's like, come on. But now you can do it to where it's not 100% realistic looking, but it works for what it is. And just can that be okay? I don't get it.
Yeah, and that was my big thing. Now, were there any other things that you liked about it, T?
I like the pacing. I thought it was paced really well. Like I said, I went in thinking that the early 30 minutes, again, because I listened to them damn reviewers, was going to be weird pacing, but I didn't think so at all. It flowed. I was kind of sad it was over, because it flowed too well and it was over. I thought the fight scenes were great. I mean, I loved it. So I don't know.
Now, there are a couple things that I didn't like.
Okay. I have some things too.
Yeah. Now, because let me say this. Okay. The main villain for this movie is Steppenwolf.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you know anything about the comics about Steppenwolf, you know, Steppenwolf they jacked his powers up for this movie.
Yeah.
Because one, I'm gonna be honest with you, and if you think I'm lying, go back and watch the Justice League cartoon from 2001 to 2005. Steppenwolf can't beat Hippolyta.
Nah, he can't.
He can't. He don't want to see Hippolyta.
No.
So that whole sequence with the Amazons, I'm like,
I was just like, I guess this Steppenwolf is that guy, but the Steppenwolf I know couldn't do this. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Steppenwolf was weak, but I thought that like in the context of how they had him, he was the appropriate kind of weak.
Right.
Because I thought at the end of the movie they were bringing in Darkseid.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. They never do that. So
I don't think I ever thought they'd bring in Darkseid in this one. I thought
the reason why I thought they were going to bring him in because I'm like, okay, they don't need Superman to fight Steppenwolf.
I think I would have liked to have seen him, maybe when Steppenwolf goes back, obviously.
Yeah.
And he just kind of, I failed. Yeah, he bows and I failed you, and it's like, basically we're plotting revenge or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that maybe at the end. Maybe that's the one thing, one complaint as far as that goes, as far as the story and what we actually saw goes. Yeah. I wish they would have had that.
Yeah, because Darkseid, anytime you bring in Steppenwolf, Darkseid is a part of the equation. It's kind of like with in the X-Men with Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse.
Right,
you see Apocalypse, you should see two people, Mr. Sinister and Cable.
Mm-hmm.
Fox, screw you. Now the other thing that I didn't like, that I had a problem with, and this is me, because I had an issue with this sequence. It's the Aquaman going to Atlantis sequence where Steppenwolf goes to steal their mother box. Now, the problem is, I know that movie's coming. I know they're going to try to go for realism of how it looks underwater. I could barely see what was going on in that fight.
Couldn't see
it.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
So
I'm totally with you on that.
They need to find a way to clear it up somehow.
They need to completely clear it up and just give bubbles and some wakes, underwater wakes. But that's it. You can't have it to where the view is skewed. That's not going to work.
I understand what they were trying to do. It's just the problem is when you go that far underwater, you can't see.
You can't see at all.
So the only reason why I know Steppenwolf was down there because he kept throwing that axe, and the axe was red.
Right.
When you go down and see, and like they have Amber Heard as Mira in it, and like this is the other thing that I didn't understand why they did this. The whole making a water bubble so they can talk.
Yeah. They don't need to do that.
The sequence was obviously CG.
Yeah.
I mean, just have them talk.
Right.
And just put the CG water over them.
Well, maybe it was just a thing of, we want you to be able to see them better. You know, because they made the choice that they're going to have murky water in the way. And then they just never made that choice. So you wouldn't have to worry about it.
That's the only thing that I think, or at the very least, what they should have done is like how they do it in the cartoon, in the animated stuff. Sometimes, like they'll show them swimming in Atlantis, but then they'll come up in like the palace or whatever, the vault room or whatever, and the vault room doesn't have water in it.
Yeah, I think we'll still see that.
Yeah, that to me, I think the fight should have taken place like that.
Yeah,
as opposed to completely underwater. You see in the sea foliage and all that, and you just can't see it.
Right.
You can't tell what's going on. It's hard to tell what's going on. That was my two big complaints of the movie. I mean, there are some small stuff, but those were more like nitpicky things. And honestly, I didn't see much that I thought they did a good job on this. Honestly. Yeah. But for the most part, I thought they fixed some of the issues, some of the main issues that I've been having with the DC movies ever since they decided to go with their own extended universe. And that's basically not having these movies have any personality or fun to them. This movie has personality and it has fun to it. And outside of those two things where we have a weak villain and not taking advantage of showing Darkseid and the murky Aquaman stuff, because I'm like, dude, y'all got to do a better job on that because I want to see this Aquaman movie. Y'all got me. I got my
that 2 hours through that murky water.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to be able to see what's going on. I don't want like 4 of my fight sequences in
like Transformers.
Yeah, well, I can't see nothing.
All this stuff.
I have to do all these wide shots because we can't see crap.
Yeah.
So, all right. What about you? What you didn't like?
I mean, you basically covered it. Actually, I mean, The one big thing was definitely the Aquaman stuff, so underwater stuff. So yeah, and then the fact that I would have liked to have seen Darkseid at the end, but other than that, like I don't really have any complaints. I guess if I was to complain about one thing, maybe the epicness of the final battle wasn't there. Like, yeah, because that's one of my favorite things about Batman vs Superman was the final battle was epic as hell.
Yeah,
and I loved it to tears. And this never lived up to it. You approached it sometimes, but maybe with the when they stormed to get the mother box, they stormed. Oh my god! I'm going blank again. Not Wonder Woman's island.
Amazon one.
Yeah, the Amazonians. Yeah. Stormed that. You got some of the epicness there, but it wasn't like a consistent, sustained.
Yeah.
That was a really good scene, though. That was a really good scene.
It was a great scene. It's just I couldn't believe it because I'm like, Hippolyta should put her foot up your behind.
Right. That just yeah. So that probably didn't bother anybody else, or just the non-comic book.
Yeah, the comic book people, we was like, okay, yeah, right. Okay, yeah. Hippolyta running from you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Not quite. But yeah, like I said, I know they was because at the end of the day, you had Wonder Woman. She took out Ares, yo. So she wouldn't need any help with a Steppenwolf, No. So they had to they had to boost them up, make them more powerful.
Yeah,
more harder to deal with because you would need Superman at that point. Why would you need Superman to handle Steppenwolf? Like, come on.
And I think that was the other part of the problem was the fact that we know the whole Steppenwolf thing. We're like, dude, you don't need him for that,
right?
I can see if you had him like saving the people from the that was stuck in Chernobyl. Because let's be honest, that was Chernobyl.
Yeah, it's Chernobyl, of course.
Yeah, so I can see that if you had him like, okay, we got to have him and Barry save the people that stuck there. But Wonder Woman, Aquaman,
that stuff was cool though. That was cool. Like I did like that a lot.
When you saw, when they tag teamed, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
See, Steppenwolf made that one big mistake of telling Wonder Woman that his axe was still slick with the blood of her sisters.
Why you do that, bro?
Yeah. I'm like, well, you're not gonna be in part 2.
You should have never said that. Well, you don't give your enemy extra motivation. What you doing?
And all that was because you saw that smile leave her face. I'm like, yeah, bro, you done.
You messed up. You messed up
because she started dodging his shots. And I'm like, okay, dude, you been trying to mess you up, bro. So yeah, now did you catch the post-credit sequences?
I did. I certainly did.
Okay,
I had heard there were going to be some. If I hadn't heard that, then I probably would have left. Yeah, but I caught them both.
The one that you know which one I want to talk about, the Lex Luthor one.
Lex Luthor, of course.
Okay, now I do like Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke because that looked badass.
Yeah,
he looks badass as Deathstroke.
Yeah,
I got to give him that. He looks badass.
My son was like, he doesn't really know. He knows.
He knows some of them.
He has some walking knowledge of comic book characters, but he doesn't really know. He was like, oh. He said, I didn't know Daredevil was in this.
Oh, snap.
He saw Deathstroke. I was like, no, that's not Daredevil. Although Daredevil was clearly influenced by Deathstroke.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
I will say this: I didn't expect them to go Legion of Doom this quick.
Yeah, that was pretty surprising as well.
Yeah, because that's basically what they're saying they're setting up is Legion of Doom. Although I got to give Jesse Eisenberg cool points. I'm glad that they actually did something cool with Lex because he's not doing that. I'm high off Ritalin and we laced with Adderall.
I get like a lot of people didn't like his performance. My wife loved his performance. It was kind of surprising, but she's not really into comics and stuff. But it's actually going to tie into my little quick thing about Cyborg. It's like people got upset because it wasn't the Lex that they knew, and I understand that, but they have to reestablish these guys because the Lex the Lex in the movie world was last this bumbling, real estate mogul guy, like, and that was not going to work in this realm, so they had to set him up that way. And it makes sense that he would kind of brush that kind of kookiness of himself off. And now he's like way super focused, and he would become the Lex that after the prison sentence, after being locked up. Like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I like I said, I loved it because of the simple fact that I'm just glad he wasn't doing them nervous ticks crap.
I didn't think he was going to do that. I thought once he got locked up, he was going to change anyway. He got his hair cut off. I think that was their way of saying, all right, this is the Lex now going forward. After they shaved his hair off, like, okay, right, this is the Lex And I think, again, their hearts were in the right place. The execution was the reason it didn't work for a lot of people. It's the execution. I think the idea was a good idea, but the execution wasn't what it needed to be to get people there. And like I was saying about Cyborg, people were complaining about, I don't like how he looks. But at the end of the movie,
you saw it.
Exactly. And I said that.
You called it. You did call it.
Did I call that? Okay.
Yeah, you called it.
I was like, I don't think that's his final form. He's just learning, he's just becoming who he was. The machine basically formed him, at that point. Yeah. The mother box basically instructed who he was. And now when he gets control of himself, he'll shape himself the way the Cyborg would know. And he totally you saw him doing it. I was like, I called it again.
Yeah, you called that one. Now, there's one more thing that I do have to bring up because I tried to explain this to some people that asked me about it, and that is the running form of Barry Allen. Mm-hmm. There is a couple of scenes in here where they go slow motion, and he just looks weird. Mm-hmm. But if you look at his form, if you ever watch Winter Olympics, he has a speed skating form.
He has a speed skate. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah. So look, I understand where people coming from because it does look weird, slow motion. Right. They really shouldn't. Somebody should have started and be like, you know what, this don't look right in slow motion.
It doesn't look right in slow motion. It's like I've seen like what people have shot green screen, like low budget.
Yeah,
shot green screen, and they had people running in place, and it's just like that doesn't look right. Once you do the CG and try to make it look like they're running, it doesn't look right because you can't fake. Yeah. People know when somebody's running in place, Yeah.
Even
if you do a CG background and have it moving, you still know. And I think that's what happened. It's something similar. I'm not saying it's exactly like that. Just trying to give an example. It just looked awkward because you slowed it down, Yeah,
because it looks like he's speed skating. It really does. And like when you speed skate, if you notice the form of speed skaters, you wouldn't run like that in real life.
No.
So, but you're in speed. When you're speed skating, you're in ice skates because you're in the ice rink, and that's why you're doing like that. But the problem was, it's like two scenes in there where they slow it down, and his like arms are flailing, and you're like, oh, this don't look good.
And again, he's kind of just learning to be Flash.
Yeah,
maybe his form will change. I hate to be right again on that, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe he's flailing around at this point.
Yeah, because from the way I perceive it, he hadn't been Flash that long.
No, he hadn't been Flash that long. No.
Yeah, the way I perceive this happened, he hasn't been Flash long, and there's a scene in there with him and Cyborg where they're talking because they're basically the mistakes of the
I love that scene.
And they both.
Goyer couldn't have wrote that scene.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like that.
That was Whedon. That was
Whedon all day. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Like I know people try to hate on Whedon a lot, but we know what he's doing.
He knows characters. He knows how to establish characters.
Yeah, and he knows how. And he doesn't need like 20 minutes.
No,
he can do it in like 2-3 lines.
That's the genius of his writing. Yeah. He can do it. Quick.
Like because that sequence with him and Cyborg is only like 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that long.
And you know what? I guess this will kind of be me harking back to Thor a little bit, like Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe because I complained about the kind of sequence with Hulk and Thor.
Yeah.
Whedon needed to be in there. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Whedon would have made that work better for me. And that's what I was kind of missing.
They were trying to do that,
right?
But
they were trying to do it without Whedon.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't work with Hulk like that,
right?
Because of how Hulk is,
right?
I mean, now if it was Banner, you could have made it work, but they were trying to make it work with Thor and Hulk. Like they needed Whedon for that. They just needed Whedon.
I just thought about that just now. I was like, oh wait a minute, that kind of makes sense that it would have been
like the parts that Whedon did, you could tell like the bantery parts, the quiet moments with the team is together, because they have like 3 or 4 moments where they're together, and you can tell that's what he did,
right?
Because I'm sorry, just judging by the track record of my boy Zack Snyder,
and nothing against Zack, we know what his limitations are, and
we just know his. Have you seen Sucker Punch?
Right, he's not good at those little moments.
No, he's not
at all.
Action though, he set it off.
He's almost untouchable when it comes to that. So,
but character moments,
he needs somebody else in there to help him out with that stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is it wasn't a bad film. I hate that people aren't watching it because of past feelings, but I think people need to check it out, or at least give it a chance.
Yeah.
So me personally, I give it a matinee, just because I think it's a good movie you can go watch in the afternoon, have a good time. You know, it gets you in, it gets you out, and you'll have some fun.
Yeah. It's a shame that
depressed when you come out of it.
I hate to say suffering, but it definitely is suffering a little bit because of this quote unquote stigma.
Yeah, the stigma. Yeah. And I don't like that it got that stigma. I really don't.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's some of it's deserved, but most of it's not. And it's just unfortunate because this is actually a really, really good, hits almost all the right points, movie from DC. And it's just sad it is this one, that is going to hurt. Like, I wish this would have done Suicide Squad numbers, Suicide Squad didn't deserve the numbers it got,
It really did. I think that if I'm going to be honest about Suicide Squad, I think it was because, let's be honest, we got Will Smith in there.
Yeah, it was a cast. It looked like it was going to be a fun.
Right.
It tricked you. It looked like it was going to be a fun. It had some moments like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, what the trailers were great. The trailers were awesome for that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's what got people in those seats.
You got to think. You got Jared Leto, Margot Robbie, Will Smith. That right, and
well, you had a new Joker.
Yeah,
everybody wants to see who the new Joker is going to be, what he's going to be like. You really didn't get a lot of them, and so, like I said, the trailers tricked you.
Yeah, hey, I got to give it to them. They did a good job of tricking people.
But
it got everybody because it got us.
Right. Yeah. But in the long run, it hurt. I think it hurt Justice League.
I think it did too. Well, I think it hurt Justice League. It damn sure hurt Batman vs Superman.
Well, yeah.
Because if you go back and watch the theatrical cut, not the ultimate cut, the theatrical cut of Batman vs Superman, there are plot holes in that movie that don't get.
I can't watch it. It's unwatchable for me.
Yeah, but if you go and watch the ultimate cut, it's better. But that theatrical cut. If you go watch that, there are gaping plot holes that do not get answered until Suicide Squad.
Right.
Gaping.
Yep.
And that shouldn't have happened.
And Suicide Squad still doesn't answer some of the stuff that you related to, like what happened to Robin.
Yeah, it still don't. Even though they kind of danced around it.
Yeah.
Which I hate when they do that. But
I can't stand that.
That being
I will say that's the thing I think. Actually, that Justice League is doing, I think it's retroactively getting rid of some of the plot stuff in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
I think the whole Lois is the key thing. I think she got her key moment in Justice League. I think that was it. They're gonna leave that alone.
Yeah,
I don't think they're gonna go any further than that as far as her being the key. Basically, her being the key to bring Superman out of the darkness.
Yeah.
That he was in when he came back.
Actually, kind of from the comic.
Right. That works. That works for sure. I think initially with Batman vs Superman, they were going to go somewhere else with that.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. Because I saw where they were going. I'm like, you better not.
Yeah, don't do that.
Better not.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of just going to leave that whole plot line alone. Good. Wash that away and go from Justice League on. And Wonder Woman and Justice League and go from them. Those two movies.
Because let's be honest, where they went really pissed me off. But
yeah.
That being said, this movie, if you're just interested, my thing is go check it out. It's actually worth seeing in the theater. It really is. Yeah. And if you are
it's gonna have legs, I think it's gonna do fine in the long run. But
in the long run, it's gonna wind up being a cult classic.
Yeah, it'll definitely sell well on Blu-ray and whatnot. So.
But if you are near a movie that near a theater that does D-Box, watch it in that because it's a good experience in D-Box. It's worth a D-Box purchase. I know D-Box runs a little bit more, but it's worth a D-Box purchase.
Yeah, it's at 40. It's at almost 500 million. So
that's good.
Yeah, I think if it ends up 700, maybe 8, that they did a good job. They're good to go.
They had to get 600 to 550 to break even. I think.
Yeah, they'll get that
with all the marketing and everything added to it.
Yeah, they'll get that, and it's just like because they don't really have any competition until Star Wars, basically. So
you know what Star Wars is gonna do.
Right, Star Wars is gonna shut everybody else down. Yeah, you just give it up.
Why are you coming out in December? Why?
You still gonna have those movies like what you call it looks pretty good. Pretty good. Downsizing that looks pretty but interesting, and it's gonna be it's a contrary movie. Like it's like, oh, if you don't want to see Star Wars, because not everybody wants to see Star Wars, this movie's gonna make some money because it's the alternative.
It is the alternative, but
so that people do that. I mean, the studios do that on purpose. They know that there's big movies coming out. We're gonna be the contrary movie to that. We're gonna make some money. Being the other
but the movies, let's be honest, the movies don't expect to make no money.
No, they don't expect to do anywhere near what the movie they're contrarian to, but
we made $10 million. Yes,
they will make more than they would have just coming out by themselves somewhere.
Yeah, because they was like, so what's our returns? Oh, we got 20 million. Good shot. We paid $500,000 for this movie. So. Because we are not marketing this since Star Wars is coming out. We're just not gonna market this. You're gonna get a trailer in the theater and leave us alone. But
so it's only been out 11 days. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like the problem was like people were. I think it was the thing that pissed me off was the critics because the whole CGI comment, the whole. It felt like it was just like really like
it feels conspiracy theory to me. Like I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but it just feels like they're trying to
find something to hate.
Yeah,
and then it don't help that some of the DC fanboys are just like not helping the situation at all.
No, they going way overboard. On the other end, on the other spectrum, it's just like that's not helping either, bro.
Like, bro, you're really not helping. Just stop. Like we said before, stop comparing this to other stuff. Let's try to keep these within their realms, please.
Yeah.
Let's stop with the comparisons. Let's try to keep within their realms and go from there. Because, like I said, I think this year DC did a good job. Wonder Woman was awesome.
Yeah.
Justice League is awesome.
Awesome.
So, good job, DC. Don't let this deter you from bringing some personality to your movies, please.
Yes.
And bringing some actual color to it.
Yeah. They definitely turned the color tones back up.
Yeah, don't let this deter you, all right? I want
to say one thing I almost forgot to say because my daughter, I took my son and my daughter with me to watch it. They had a blast, and my daughter, I guess both of them, they both love Teen Titans. Like they love Teen Titans, so they know Cyborg and the whole crew, and so. They were waiting for a moment. And it was just like, are they not going to do it? Come on, they have to do it. And basically at the last moment they could have given it to us, they gave us the booyah. Yeah. I mean, and my daughter almost fell out of the seat. She was so happy and cheering. And that was a great moment.
They set it up for it. They had to do it.
Yeah.
It was the setup was too sweet.
I had almost forgotten about it when they had done it. So it was a nice little, yeah.
Yeah. That's like Luke Cage and Sweet Christmas. You can't not
exactly. You can't do it. You can't not do it.
Yeah, you have to do it. Yeah. It's like it's required.
It seemed like the whole theater reacted to it, which was cool. So they were all kind of expecting it. So that was cool.
Yeah, because that happened in my theater too. Like a lot of people was like, "Okay, is he gonna do it or not?"
Yeah,
he gonna do it? Or not? We'll do it for him, but is he gonna do it or not?
All right.
So yeah, and it was those little touches because, like, especially at the end, it was the thing with Cyborg and Superman. It actually made them feel more human.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Even though Cyborg throughout the movie was actually fighting with himself.
Yeah,
that being him and Superman being like, I think that actually. That they did a good job of making them feel human at the end.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Joe. What's his name? Joe Morton.
Joe Morton, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this dude, but he needs to stop trying to end the world with his experiments.
He's been doing this since Terminator 2.
Yeah, he's been doing this for quite some time, bro. Like, stop.
Like, are you a James Bond villain in disguise in these movies?
We want you to be the good guy, but you're kind of the bad guy here. Oh, man. I guess
we just found out our Bond 26 villain.
Oh, man. Joe Morton. For real. I love that guy. I love him.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but yeah, he's been getting typecast for decades. Yeah,
he's been getting typecast.
The brother that's about to destroy the world by accident.
Yeah, or the crazy police sergeant from Speed.
Yeah.
Thinks everything is just hilarious.
Yeah. Well, hope you guys enjoyed our review. We'll probably be back for Star Wars because that's the last big movie of the year, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's anything else in there.
And then, of course, we'll do our end of the year movie picks that we think were actually pretty good. We already did our first half of the year, so we'll do our second half of the year to end out 2017. So, T, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, nothing really. Did we do Spider-Man?
We never did Spider-Man.
Now we got to do Homecoming, man. I don't think we did that.
Yeah, okay, so people will be doing Homecoming next.
Yeah, we're a little late.
Yeah, we're a little late on that one, so we'll do Homecoming next. And then we'll do
we just came out on Blu-ray. That's what I thought about it. I was like, I don't think we ever did Spider-Man.
I don't think we did either. Now I think about it, no, we didn't. So yeah, we'll do that one next, and then we'll do our Star Wars and our end of the
Last
year.
Jedi, man. Last Jedi.
I don't know why they put last in stuff.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna be the last.
No, I mean,
like, stop putting last in stuff, Hollywood.
Yeah, call it last anything. Come on.
Yeah, this ain't the last of nothing. The Last Jedi is gonna be 15 Jedi after this movie. So, but that does it for us, people. Hope you have a good evening. We'll catch you on the next vid. Peace.
Peace.